When shopping for a new car or looking for the next car or dreaming up kind of what's next for you and your car endeavors, one of the things that goes through your mind is when you find a specific car, you're like, I know it's fun to drive, but it would be kind of cool to talk to someone about it. And I created that video to answer that. So the question is a 034 Motorsport Tune Stage 2 on E85 580 plus horsepower RS3 fun to drive? We're going to touch on the major subjects of this whole question throughout this video, but I have one sentence of a conclusion to tie it all together at the end, so look out for that. Drivability is the first thing, and before we dive into that, I want to take a second and do a shameless plug for two important people. Modsandmiles.com. This car is going up for auction Saturday, June 18th. You can literally go bid on this car. It's going to be up for a week and purchase it. I made this car, built this thing for this auction so that it's a look that everyone likes aesthetically, and I'm even throwing in a carbon wing that I wanted to put on, but I was like, maybe that person might not want to do it. So click the link down below to modsandmiles.com, enter your email on their email list, and get accustomed to what's going on. And I hope one of you guys out there watching this video purchases this car, because I'm telling you right now, this is one of the nicest RS3s that's going to be for sale in the market at its current time, for sure. Second plug, CarmanSpeed.com, our company, our team that I created. There's about 8 of us, all in our 20s, love working on cars, and we appreciate all of you guys. We wanted to find ways to give back. The whole thing behind CarmanSpeed is, hey, we want to create experiences and support those in the automotive motorsports places. So right now we have a promotion going on where you can win a Turbo FRS or a trip to Colorado with me and go drive supercars in the hills, which is two things I've always wanted to try, is a Turbo FRS, and I've always wanted to go to Colorado to drive through the hills and the crazy roads there when I traveled the country with my old boss, Big DOS TV, I'm sure you guys know on YouTube. I remember those roads and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to come back here with nice cars. So definitely manifested it, and it ends up being with one of you. So don't sleep on that. We're picking a winner for the car, and I'm picking a winner for the trip at the end of the month. It ends at the end of this month, so head over to CarmanSpeed.com, get entered right now. Don't sleep on that. Drivability, where were we? The Audi RS3 has quite a few drive modes. You got a button up here in the center. You've also got a button on your steering wheel that you can set. It's got auto, dynamic, individual, and comfort. And in auto, it's auto. Dynamic is aggressive everything. Transmission, engine, exhaust valve is open. Sport mode. It's a straight up baby R8. I'm gonna put it back into comfort so you guys can hear me loud and clear. To back up the question, the drive modes do make it fun to drive. It can satisfy, hey, I'm on the phone, throw in comfort mode, hey, I got someone with me. Comfort mode, hey, I'm with the boys, I want to have a good time and go fast and race someone. Throw it in dynamic. You can throw it in, hey, I'm by myself cruising around town. I'm gonna put it on individual, which is calm, ECU, which is the engine, and calm, transmission, tuning, and exhaust valve open. That's what my setup is. Sometimes I'm just trying to chill and listen to the exhaust note, have a good drive down to wherever I'm getting dinner or whatever I'm doing. Love that part about this car. The handling, I do have 034 Motorsport lowering springs on it and a rear sway bar. We got end links in the front as well that are adjustable. This thing is absolutely planted to the ground. You did get a little bit better of a feel, for sure, quite a bit with the lowering springs. It is a little bit bouncier on the road. Not bouncy is a bad word, it's just stiff, sporty. I like my cars that way, and that's probably why the camera's shaking a little bit. Definitely enjoy it. This car will make anyone good at driving. You don't have to know anything about driving. Point the wheel, floor it, it goes. Slam on the brakes, it does it. So you can like send it full speed. You have a lot of brakes to stop you, and you have a lot of torque to pull you out of corners. And it just makes everyone good at driving. There's zero driver mod necessary to go fast in this car. So that's what's awesome about it, but also what sucks about it. Something you might be asking yourself is, does the tuning ruin how smooth the car drives around? No, but I will say at the power level we're at on E85, the power curve is so aggressive, it naturally makes the car feel less smooth. Like when I try and get on it with someone, I'm like 50% throttle and it'll pull pretty hard, but it's like sitting there on like boost. It's like, hey, we're gonna go. It's like, no, but just keep hanging on. And then when you do give it more than 50%, it feels like it's just like, it just throws your head back. So the car, daily driving, I have it in comfort mode in drive. This thing is smooth, just like it was from factory. It's nothing you need to worry about. But as far as like trying to be kind of in the power or kind of out of the power, when you're in like dynamic and sport mode and all that, it's like on-off switch when you get to this level with this car. It's pretty hectic. The next little piece of this is the sound. We talked about drivability, now let's talk about sound. The sound on this car is my personal favorite part of this car. 5-cylinder turbo, it's half of the R8 and Lamborghini Huracan's V10, and it sounds like an R8, and that's why they call it the baby R8, and that's why I will forever want a TTRS. I'm a big coupe guy. I love them, even though I don't own a ton of them. When I think about myself spending more money on cars, I have like a collection of coupes, and the TTRS is one because of one, I love the sound so much. It's a 2-door, and you just can't beat it. When you're thinking about buying an RS3 just for the sound, you will not regret it. It's one of the exhaust notes that no matter what it seems to do, like there is no chance of me getting tired of this exhaust sound. Let me give you a little mid-range of the exhaust note. Just listen to this. Talked about drivability, talked about sound, now let's talk about speed. You can literally beat any single person off a street light or off a 40-year-old, anyone you want to walk, any day of the week, any time of day, it doesn't matter, you will walk them, 100%. The amount of grip and torque this car puts down is more violent than any other car I've done. This car is very aggressive, but very insanely smooth in stock form, even with the stage 1 tune. As soon as you go to stage 2, E85, it's pretty violent, it's kind of like an on-off switch, but if you want it to be ultra smooth, you can do that and get whatever you want out of the car kind of at any power levels. So I really wouldn't stress about it hearing this from me about it being violent. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that. It's not really like that. You don't gotta stress about it. The last thing about speed is that no one realizes how fast this car is. That's what I love about it. It's like a little angry Jetta. I've seen a comment out there that was said, and I kind of have a little bit of proof. So me and Parker, my cousin, were out driving late one night, and 2 girls and a guy. The guy was driving, there's 2 girls in the car, and I can't even make this up. It was like late at night, we had the windows down, we were messing around, we were having fun. I just got the car running perfect with everything on it that's right now. So I was doing some testing, make sure everything was good. And this girl started chirping at us with the windows down like late at night. And she was like, oh, well, like mimicking the sounds the car was making, right? And they were like, oh, like something that's so cute, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then so we took off from the light, and they're like pulling next to us, and I just tossed it down to 2nd gear and just loaded it up with boost just to like tease them for a second. And then I let it hit torque, and it just bolted. And I knew that they would be like, because this thing just goes. I'll roll the iPhone clip of the reaction when we came back to the light after they saw us actually go fast and they saw how gnarly this car was. Here's the reaction that Parker got on his iPhone.
I got you.
I'll let you guys get 6 cars ahead of me. Go! We talked about drivability, we talked about sound, we talked about speed. Now what does this car feel like? This has baby supercar vibes completely. Baby exotic vibes. Like, this is like my first car, and I think a good entry into like the higher end of cars. When people say baby R8, I keep saying it, it is literally a baby R8, and every single person that rides in it feels that way. The simplicity of the interior, the screen right here goes up and down, I love that. The digital screen in front of me and the steering wheel feel is just insane. The shifter, everything about it is great. So if you want those things, this is definitely the car for you. A modded out car like this, is it fun to drive every single day? This is where it might get controversial with my opinion. I'm a very meticulous person, and this car is so perfect and so refined compared to anything I'm used to that any little shake, noise, anything like I normally wouldn't freak out about absolutely drives me nuts. So it's like when you think about it driving every day and like kind of putting a lot of miles on it, it like gives me a little bit of anxiety. I'm like, I wonder what's gonna come up next, and how bad is it gonna bother me is what goes through my head. It's like, eh. And I come from someone who's had a Mustang GT, STIs, Focus ST, Mazda Speed 3, GTI, 350Z. Some are super nice, some are super crappy, and this just takes it to a whole nother level where I'm just like, man, like any little thing like makes me sad because it's so perfect as a whole. The way I've grown into this car is realizing that it being so perfect, I've had to choose to treat it like a treat to drive. And so I don't daily drive it, so that when I do drive it, I appreciate how perfect it is. Because when you have something so perfect and so refined, you that much faster don't appreciate it, because it does everything for you in such a nice, like no sounds, all the good sounds only, handles well. interior's awesome. It's, you forget about everything, and you're just like, oh, I'm just, you know, I'm bored of the car, you know, and you're like, I don't want to be bored of this thing. This thing is insane, but why am I bored of it? It's because it's literally so perfect. It gives you nothing to think about but where you're driving. And sometimes the fun part about cars is it gives you something to think about while you're driving, a unique experience, the way it shifts, the way it sounds, like the little quirks about it, and how you steer and how it handles. And this thing just goes where it wants to go, goes as fast as you want to beat every single person, makes the best noises in the world, and it has it all. 3 weeks in, I was like, I don't love it. I could live without this. And I'm like, I don't want to feel that way about it. So I stopped driving it every day, and then that's when I was like, I miss it. I'm gonna go take it out once this week. And then in my normal situations, I'll drive it like twice a week max. And I absolutely love every second of driving it. When I started driving every day, I got tired of it, and I started driving other cars, and I was like, this bums me out. And this is a very valuable lesson I learned from this nice car that I've never had before. And with the RS3 being so nice, it sets this new standard that to me, it spoils me a little too much to daily drive, a little bit above my liking. Maybe that will change as I get older and I grow into sort of things like this. And the guys at Mods and Miles were the ones that got me this car to have fun for a couple months, and I realized it is way ahead of me and what I need to get out of a car to make me happy. So that's been very, very interesting to experience. And another note is that it's so nice that I feel like with there being so many other fun cars to drive and this one being so much nicer than the rest of them, that I feel almost guilty putting miles on this one if I were to daily drive it. It's like, hey, just leave that as a treat. I understand why people, and when they're older and by the time they get these crazy nice cars, they don't drive them every day because they're so good you don't want to ruin it. And that's something that I've learned from this car also. I never understood that mindset until I lived it with this car. So that one thing I told you to wait for that conclusion, I have to read it off my phone because I can't get my words out smoothly. So it's such a refined machine that if taken for granted when daily driving it, you will no longer appreciate it. For the RS3 to be truly appreciated, in my opinion, you cannot daily drive it. It's a masterpiece of a machine, and I stand behind that, and I feel like that's how the R8 would be and a lot of these other RS models. If you want fastest, nicest, luxurious, simplest sports car to daily drive, you work somewhere, either it's at home or a nice place, it will probably be the most absolutely perfect car for you. But I want to give you a forewarning, you will literally get so numb to it so quick because it's so good, modded or stock, that you might be asking yourself, do I like this car anymore? And you'll be thinking of me just reminding you, don't daily drive it anymore if you feel that way. If you want to have that same love of when you first drive with this thing, don't daily drive it. You will start itching and appreciating things about it that you did in the beginning, and keep it that way. And that's a hard part about cars, is usually you're at a position in life where you only have one car, and that's okay. But just know that going into this car specifically, protect yourself from that, because the worst thing that you can do is ruin cars for yourself and then just be like, I don't know why, but that's the solution and what's going on. So hope this helps. I'm really excited about sharing this part of the experience of owning this car for a little bit of time, thanks to the Mods and Miles crew. Don't forget, it's going to be up for auction with the link down in the description. Commerce Speed, my company, my team, is giving away a turbo FRS and a trip to Colorado with me in supercars. It's going to be a blast. Maybe we'll learn something new on that trip and we'll be talking about it. So there's a video right here of the RS3, what it looks like from the outside. Go check it out. We were driving around a lot today. I want you to see the outside. It's an absolute masterpiece, and that video is very satisfying to watch. I'll see you over there.